Yeah. Page 46, birthday greetings. The top of the page, they're talking about changing keys. That's where the key signature changes in a piece. Well, a key signature can change most any time in a piece, but it has to be at a measure. You're not going to change a key signature in the middle of a measure. You're somewhere on a measure. Here, it starts out with 1 sharp in G major. And then you go down to the 3rd line down, you see 2 sharps. They've added a sharp. Now we're in D major. So make sure you can do the scales, the G major scale and the D major scale on this, the beginner part in the videos. And that's really all they're after. You look at the end of the 2nd line, you see double bars. Remember I said that is a section break, because the music can be in sections. So the first 2 lines is 1 section, and the last 2 lines are another section, and that happens to be where the key signature changes. Doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to have a double bar to change key signatures, but in a lot of cases they will. And here they do. So we got to change hand positions here. The hands are going to move around a little bit. You don't get any rests really to work with. You do get a rest in the left hand, so I'll tell you how you can work that. You're starting this piece out in a G position. If you look at the notes and the finger numbers, that's what they are. And in the 3rd line, you're going to be down here in a D position. Because if you look at the notes and the finger numbers in the 3rd line, that's where they are. So we got to go from G to D fairly quickly, not a lot of time. When you start moving hands around, things get tricky. If possible, we would prefer not to have to move both hands at the same time. A lot of times we have to, but if you don't have to, it's better just to move 1 hand at a time if you can. And here we can. You're here to start, and at the start of the 3rd line, you get a rest in the left hand. It's not playing. So you can leave the left hand where it is, pretty much, and just move the right hand down so it can play those 8th notes. As the right hand is playing the 8th notes, then you can move the left hand down. So it's here. So you can move 1 hand at a time here. You don't have to move them at the same time. You can move them at the same time if you want to. What I'm saying is it's a good practice to learn to do this way and this way, but both hands at the same time is a little trickier. On page 47, they have another quiz, and at the end of this, after the Play With Me part of this, I'll go over the quiz with you, and let's make sure you know all the answers to those questions. They're kind of important. If you really want to understand the music and the piano playing and reading and what you're saying, you should be able to answer those questions. This is in 3/4 time, but it has a pickup beat. 2 notes, 8th notes, two 8th notes for 1 beat, right? Quarter note gets a count. So I would give you 2 counts. I'd go ready and go and. Like so. I'm going to keep this pretty slow. I'm going to keep this metronome at 50. So let's just make sure we can do this okay. Starting out in G position, 2 counts. Here we go. Ready and go and. Now, quiz number 2. Let's go over these. These are all true false. So we'll cover them. First one way to transpose is to raise all the tones a half step. That's actually true. That's one way of doing it. Assuming you want to transpose it a half step. You can transpose more than that, but yes, that's one way of doing it. Number 2, this chord is a chord. I just gave you the answer right there. When you have, I say 2 or more notes together like that, it's a chord. It's showing 3 notes. It's showing this chord. Yes, it's a chord. It's true. Number 3, pianists and athletes do not need exercise. So that's a matter of opinion. I hate to say yes or no on that. It's up to you if you do. I think what they're after is, yes, you do. You got to be in pretty good health to play a piano. I don't exercise, and I still do it, so I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. Number 4, minor pieces are happy and cheerful, and the answer they're looking for is false, because minor pieces are usually sad and mysterious, and major pieces in major keys, C major, A major, all these fun things, like on page 46, they're happy and cheerful. Number 5, this is a broken chord, and they're showing these notes. And the answer is yes, it is a broken chord, because it's a chord where the notes are played one at a time, so we call it a broken chord. Number 6, in a major scale, the half steps come between 2, 3, and 6, and 7. The answer to that is no, they don't. Remember how to figure that? Just do a C major scale because it uses all the white notes. So half notes. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's at the half step. It's between 3 and 4. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7 and 8. So it's 3, 4, 7, and 8. That's a major scale. All major scales follow that pattern. Number 7, the signature for the key of C major is 1 sharp, and that's false. C major has no sharps or flats. 1 sharp, as in page 46 at the beginning, that is G major. Number 8, the signature for the key of F major is 1 flat. That is true. It is 1 flat, a B flat. If you know the scales of these, because you memorize those scales fairly quickly, you can figure out real quick how many sharps or flat is in that key. Number 9, some music is calm and other music is lively. Well, duh. Of course it is. What do you mean by, what kind of a question is that? I hope you got that right. Number 10, largo means cheerful. Wrong, false. Largo means very slow. Has nothing to do with the mood. If you want to be cheerful, really, really slow, like a snail, slow, cheerful, a cheerful snail, that's largo. But generally a cheerful piece is a faster piece. Number 11, 2 sharps in the signature indicate the key of D major. That is true. D major has 2 sharps. We went over those. If you know the scale on D major, you know the sharps for it. Number 12, this sign stands for common time. And the answer is false, because the sign they're showing is the bass clef. If you take a look on page 46, at the beginning of the first line for the bottom staff, you see that clef sign, that little curve with the 2 dots? That's a bass clef sign. That's what they're showing here in the question. Number 13, this interval, and it's an A and a D, is a 4th. Well, let's check it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yes, it is a 4th. Remember when counting intervals, the note you're on is 1. Don't go to the next note and count it as 1. That's incorrect. 14, this interval, here to here, is a 6th. Well, let's count it and find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, it's a 6th. 15. The key of B flat major has 2 flats. And that is true. B flat major does have 2 flats. If you knew the scale on B flat major, you'd know that too. Number 16. If 1 F means forte, then 2 Fs means 80. We're not talking numbers here. It's not 40, it's forte. It's Italian for loud. So 16 is false. The F's, one F is loud, two F's is very loud. So 80 has nothing to do with it. It's a cute, tricky question though, don't you think? Yeah. Number 17, pianoforte is the full name of the piano. Pianists should always practice fast. Oh, that is so wrong. I mean, hopefully you all would know immediately you don't practice stuff fast. I mean, fast stuff, eventually you will practice fast, but you don't start out that way, not in practicing it. Ugh. 19. The three sharps in the key of A major are A sharp, D sharp, and B sharp. And that is wrong. That's false. Remember, all the sharp, they always come in the same order, and if you knew the A major scale, you'd know this too. So the first sharp is always F sharp, the second sharp is always C sharp, and the third sharp is always G sharp. So, bleh, they're all screwy there. No, false, wrong. Number 20, last one. The dot after a quarter note is worth an eighth note. And that is true, because it takes 2 eighth notes to equal a quarter note, and the dot gets half a quarter note. Doesn't matter what the time signature is. A dot gets half the value of the note. So if it's 2 eighth notes to a quarter note, a dot gets 1 eighth note, period. And that's the quiz. Yay, team. And you finished this book. Congratulations. You'll be ready to go to the next book. And someday I'll probably have that up. Or if you're watching this years later, I may have it up now. Congratulations. Go for it. If you've only been through the book once, please go back through it again at least another time and maybe 2 more times to make sure you've got it all. Make sure you can play these pieces smoothly and evenly. Don't rush through it. You'll just defeat yourself.